オロチマル様と共に前わらびの舞洗脳ではないお前らに何がわかる
Hey everybody, Bam Collectibles here, back for another statue unboxing review for you. Kimimaro is one of those characters in Naruto, just like my boy Zabuza, that I wish would have gotten more screen time and we would have got to see more of them. His unique Keke Genkai in the show made him one of the coolest characters they ever created. I purchased this statue about 9 months to a year ago, and it was actually one of the first I ever owned that didn't have a round plate base on it. For many years, I just loved the Sume style of bases, so this one really broke my mold, and I have to say, it really started a trend with what I began to value and like. This statue altogether is insane with the amount of details that they packed into it. Sprinkled all throughout the base is tiny grass patches, as well as the shading and the overall just grungy look of this rocky base is just incredible. One of the perks of not having a plate-style round base is the fact that you save on weight when shipping a statue. This statue was lighter than most that I do ship because it didn't include that. As seen in the intro, this statue has tons of bones that are just coming all throughout the ground from Kimimaro using his ability. The very top of the bone has a hollow center, and it looks like it's red marrow that's painted onto it. Adding some rock debris on the side really gave it that effect of as if it shot straight from the ground. Even though I just showcased one of the bones, I wanted to show off this one in particular just to show how much time and effort was put into some of these. The bone has what I would say a pearlescent look to it, and that has all the different colors and shading. There are marks on the bottom of them that help you match to different parts on the base so you know where they go. A few of the bones do look a bit different in that they've been sliced, and also there are some holes in them. This will later support the spinal bone whip that he uses in battle. The thickest and tallest bone does have a piece that is removable from the top. This will later actually help me when I display it in my case, so I don't have to have as tall of a requirement when putting him in there. The bone itself does look a bit odd because it is actually being sliced by the bone whip, which we'll take a look at later. The character sculpt for Kimimaro was done in multiple different pieces because there's so much going on here. So excuse me if this looks a bit morbid with it being half a body, but this is the only way I'm going to be able to show off all the details like this. On the waist are multiple strong magnets that will help attach the rest of the different parts of the body later. Just like the base, the overall coloration on the bottom part is very dirty. That's where the tail's going to go later. Also, he has this thick metal rod. The soles of his feet are very detailed. If you haven't been able to tell already, this statue is very different from some of the others I showcased, where they look like they jump right out of the show, while this one is more of a realistic interpretation of the character. Oh my, this tail blows me away with all the details they added onto it. There is a strong magnet in there that, like I said, attaches to the back. And if we look to each individual bone that is popping out of the tail, that is so gross and realistic looking. Having that dry blood at the very bottom of the bone is what makes it look extremely real. Attaches on very easy like this, and at first I was kind of nervous thinking of a very long tail like that hanging on by a magnet alone, but thankfully the very next piece we'll introduce does help brace it on there even more so. The top portion of his outfit was also sculpted to be very dynamic, just like the bottom part. There's also that purple robe, which is kind of a symbol that most people who follow Orochimaru do wear. This top portion connects via magnets on the left and right side, and as I mentioned before, if we turn this around and look to the back, the tail is mounted very securely by that one bone kind of sitting into place. If I jiggle it here, nothing happens. Buckle up. The top portion of Kimimaro is so intricate and detailed. Zooming in, you can see him pushing his knuckles right out as if he's about to throw him, just like he throws his fingertips in the show. The CM2 or Curse Mark II mode for each individual who uses this almost looks like a rotting flesh tone to it, which is so odd. If there's someone out there who gets queasy a little bit too easy, looking at some of the points where this bone is coming out of his body is actually really gross looking. They spared no expense on the back, even though you don't really see it that often. You can see these bones coming out of the spine, and all these holes here will later be used to insert some larger bones. His left arm only has this metal rod because we will be installing the large bone drill soon. His face looks incredible, and if you flip him on top, you can see the classic Kimimaro part in the middle. Here are the 3 size bones that will be used to mount to the back of Kimimaro. I'm only going to be installing a set of 1 on camera just to share with you. Incoming his large bone drill that he used during his fight with Gaara towards the end. Like I said previously, there's an overall pearlescent look to the way that this bone is colored. Whoever sculpted this drill did such an incredible job. There's so many different layers to it between the paint shading, all the different textures on it, as well as some of the cracks in the bone there. It's just an overall very impressive piece to see and showcase. Here is how everything looks assembled. If I recall right, I think there's 12 pieces total that it took to make all this come together. As if this statue wasn't already dynamic and intricate enough, let's go ahead and add that cherry on the icing on the cake with the bone whip. There's 4 different sections in total that are pieced together via small steel rods, and whatever material they used in this, it was a little bit flexible so you could bend and move it just a little bit. The paint application all throughout the spinal bone whip is really cool. Here's again showcasing how this has a little bit of flexibility to it. It's not as fragile as you would imagine it being. The installation process is a bit complex, so I'm going to add some close-up shots so you can see how it all works. Such an awesome statue when you get everything assembled like this. Both statues that you see here are paired together in my display case. The left you see over here is Cloud Studios Gaara, and I love how it comes with the Shukaku Ultimate Defense. This is the EX version of that statue. Now, Kimimaro is actually probably in more of a 1/7 scale, while Gaara is a true 1/8 scale, so he is a bit smaller than him, but it really doesn't matter once you get them side by side, and as I'm going to show later how they look in my actual display case, it is not bad at all. Here is how everything looks inside of my display case. Unfortunately, I had to remove the large bone piece, as you see here, as well as one of the backbone pieces of Kimimaro to be sure that everything fit nice and snug. I love just the balance of all these 3 together. seriously, huge thank you to all of my members who have decided to join in the past 2 weeks. If you have not considered or checked out the video that outlines that, please do. If you have any questions, let me know. But again, thank you so much for your awesome support in this membership's rollout. I'm not sure I said this yet, but WM Studio is the individuals who are in charge of making such an awesome statue. They have another one of Kimimaro coming out in the near future, hopefully more later. If you're someone who has been enjoying my content and haven't taken the time to subscribe to the channel, let me encourage you to do so. I look forward to hearing your thoughts on this statue. And as always, everybody, do what you love and love what you do. Bam out.